Well, welcome everyone. I'm super excited today for this first edition of the Open League show, TOL Show, and couldn't be more excited today and couldn't think of a better person to invite than our dear friend Chris Benny, who has been involved with the game for a really long time, probably the winningest player on the game. And so he's definitely one of the landmarks of the Open League. Chris Benny. Before we start, should we want to learn a little bit about you? Who are you?
All right, yeah. Thanks for the intro. Flattered by your words. It's been really nice, being around for such a long time. But well, a little bit about me. I'm Chris Benny. I can also call me Chris, as people call me there in the server. I'm Brazilian. I am 31 years old. I'm becoming older, losing count. And I have been playing TOL for since 2022, I guess, or maybe the end of 2021 when I was introduced to the game by Piozetta, who you also know, and he has been around for a long while too. Um, and yeah, I mean, I do enjoy, of course, football a lot, soccer, also other kinds of sports. There's probably an NFL ball there in the background. I do enjoy watching NFL too, and yeah, I'm passionate about designing stuff. Like I'm a designer in my professional career, and I was lucky enough to collaborate exactly with you to build the new brand and also the new mobile app. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That's right. So Chris Benny here is a designer of the new logo that we've had for a few months now, and was essentially designed a new app, and we're very thankful for that. Before we get into the details here and we really dive in, I have a question for you. So on your Discord profile, your profile picture is a picture of you holding what I think is the Libertadores Cup that Botafogo won back in November. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit more about your passion for the club, but also like were you on the field that night? Like how did you get a hold of that cup?
Yeah, when I saw the question, it took me a good laugh because of course, it's not the real cup. It is like real size, but it's a replica, and it was made by Botafogo fans in the area where people were having some beers and having some party. But yeah, it looks really realistic, and I took the photo of that to celebrate. Wow, talking about Botafogo and what happened last year was a roller coaster, right? Because I think I can't remember of another big title like that. We were very unlucky. Usually, probably like Arsenal was recently as well.
There's nothing about luck being luck or unlucky here. To be clear, the better team won. No luck. So sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, in 2023, we basically bottled the Brazilian league, and it was very disappointing. So 2024 was our redemption year. We won, both Brazilian league and Libertadores, like the biggest title we can win here in South America. I was nuts. Like I went to Buenos Aires. We it was basically a Brazilian invasion there. We were around 40,000 Brazilians there
And
supporting.
just quickly, I happened to be in Buenos Aires at the same time, and I cannot tell you how many people were walking around with the Botafogo jersey, the star, everywhere. Like on all the streets, we were at the airport, like every freaking where.
Exactly, like it was the event of a lifetime, so I had to be there, and it was amazing. Like this passion for Botafogo comes from my father. Even though I would say nowadays my father isn't that enthusiastic anymore about football overall, but yeah, I became more of a fan of him, in comparison to him, and it became part of my identity because now a little bit of my context. I'm from Rio, right? But then when I was very young, I moved to São Paulo, like which is a big city right by our side. And of course, in São Paulo, we don't have many Botafogo supporters because in São Paulo, you have teams like Palmeiras, like Corinthians, Santos. They have their own team, São Paulo. So being that kid with a different team among many other kids, like and São Paulo was winning big stuff at that time. They defeated Liverpool in the Club World Cup in 2005. I remember that. And Botafogo was like not really relevant at that time. So I was the different guy. So Botafogo became part of my identity. So that's why I'm a faithful fan. I would say it's part of my identity being a Botafogo supporter.
That is fascinating. So, for those who don't know, the Libertadores is essentially the Champions League of South America. And I've actually been, many years ago, I've been to one of those games, and it's just insane. And I've been to some crazy games in Europe, and in the atmosphere, I think I've never seen something like that. And by the way, you got me fooled with that picture. Like, I didn't realize it definitely looked like you're standing on the field. And I've meant to ask you for a while.
Oh, I wish.
So let's talk about Chris Benny, the TOL manager, for a little bit. So I have some fun facts here. So you actually started playing, as far as I can tell, like early 2022. You've won. Do you know how many League One titles you've won?
Well, I know because Piozera keeps very organized spreadsheet. So I think it's around 27 in the US server. Is that correct?
That is exactly right. So in USC2, you've won 27 League One titles, and you've won the Cup 25 times. Just to get a little bit of perspective for everyone, so I was obviously part of the team who designed the game. I've never won League One in USC2. Obviously, you're involved in other servers where you're also equally successful, but I wanted to highlight the US server because that's where you've been active the most. Do you want to guess how many matches your team play?
Whoa, I had no idea. But if I had to, like a wild guess, 300 something.
300 matches? No. You've played 1,700 matches.
Wow. Wow. I'm astonished.
Your team has scored 3,070 goals since you've taken over.
Wow, that's crazy stats. That just show how much I played this game.
It is pretty wild. Do you want to guess how many transfers you've completed?
Wow, if I have to guess, it's going to be like a jump guess after this big number you just said. So yeah, go ahead.
34 transfers. So you've negotiated more than 500 transfers. You've sold 2.7 billion worth of players. And you've bought 3.9. You've bought 3.9 billion worth of players. So you're a net buyer, which makes sense with all the money you make winning all those League One titles.
Exactly. Yeah, the money has to come from somewhere, right?
Yeah, and that's like as a developer, it makes me happy because that was the intent. You want the team, who are successful making money, buying players from the teams that have good players who don't have any money. So it was nice to see.
That was Justin. Like that's quite right. About the US server, yeah, it has been. I think my first server actually was US West because I remember playing with Harrison, for example, which is a long tenure player here. He's older than me in this game, and I remember like learning some things from him as well. And that was my first server. And then when you released US2, I was the first one to come. Like I was waiting. Like, it was crazy. Like I gotta be the first one because I want to pick Olympians Cariocas because that's from where I'm from. And in US West, I managed 2 teams, I guess, but my first team actually was Hounds of the Baskervilles, which nowadays is called Luchadores, right? So that was quite fun. By the way, I went bankrupt in my first experience. I had to switch teams, but then when I went to US 2 server, I was way more prepared.
That's awesome. Actually, I didn't know that. I didn't look carefully enough that you had started on the US West server with Harrison and that crew. I'll also mention that because you were talking about OLP, is that although you didn't design, I believe, the logo for OLP on your hat, you were definitely the one who brought up the idea of introducing the waves in the logo that are, I believe, on the sidewalk, the front walk in Rio.
Yeah, it's the sidewalk of Copacabana Beach, basically. Yeah, I remember that because, of course, it was very close to my heart. So when I saw the very competent designer that was designing the logos, he was proposing something with the Christ, the Radimir statue. So I said, the Christ Radimir is cool, but I think there's a more graphical reference that's less obvious, and it resembles a lot Rio. So I suggested that, and it was really good.
It's great. It's one of my favorite logos because it definitely has that reference to the location that is, to your point, not obvious unless you've been there
Yeah.
or you know the story. So switching gears a little bit, and this is I think a question that a lot of people would want to hear the answer to, but how did OLP get so good?
Well, I gotta say, you gotta be stubborn. So you gotta be stubborn, but you gotta also be open to changing, to changing your beliefs in total game. Because for my first 20 seasons, I was only playing defense, and I know we had like a hard time discussing. I was always poking, oh, hey, Kota, you gotta make defense better because defense sucks.
Uh-huh.
So for the first 20 seasons, I won like three I won playing defend and trying different formations. Because yeah, we test the limits, like which formation goes well with which mindset. So I was going nuts trying different things. So, but at some point, and I think it was on season. Let me. I have the spreadsheet open here. It was in
Okay,
season.
of course you have a spreadsheet.
Yeah, in the season 28, that's when I said, you know what, I won't play defend only. I gotta switch gears. So that's when I started playing attack. So attack and defend. So I was in L1, so I didn't tank to rebuild. I was rebuilding while competing for one title, and so I created this hybrid team that I could, which in my opinion, it makes the game way more interesting because you can, according to your opponent, you can switch the mindsets and you switch the whole team, which is something very particular to TOL, right? You can switch your starting 11
Yeah.
completely, which is a nowadays a trait of the game. I like it, but at first it was fun.
You're gonna blow a
So
lot of people's mind because now everyone's gonna be like, a lot of people are optimizing for one mindset, and
yeah,
now some people are like, oh crap, like I need to build a hybrid team now if I want to win as many titles as Chris
no,
Benny.
no, not at all. Like I know very good managers like Hovey in Euro Two, and also Diego, who's not playing anymore. They only play attack, and so most of the people will only play one mindset, one formation. That's it. And I think nowadays it makes even more sense considering the new features. But in my case, that's what worked. Like so, I didn't have to abdicate of my whole team. I could still play with half of them, but the other half I just try to sell and build a new mindset. And I'm playing like this till this day. I also replicated this formula on Euro Tour, and nowadays I play neutral and attack there.
That
Yeah,
is that is fascinating. I also want to mention, and I'd love to get your thoughts, but and we've touched on this a little bit before, but you're also very active on the transfer markets, right? And so I know every offseason more there's a group of, in that server, and I'm in the same server, so I see it, but there's a group of managers that are more active advertising players they want to sell, more
yeah.
proactive reaching out of manager asking them if they want to sell. So tell us a little bit more about how you think about the transfer market.
Wow, yeah, that's when Discord becomes really important. I mean, actually, Discord is the core of the game. That's where all the fun happens. The games are being streamed there, but you also get to talk to people, to different from the other soccer football manager games, where it's more of a solo experience. In TOL, we get to talk to real people. So yeah, you gotta talk. Like if you don't talk, people won't hear you. So when I have people to sell, I'm always pinging people. Hey, are you interested by any case in this old guy that no one wants, but it's just worth a shot? But also, it was really really cool when the server was more active. When you get really good players in the youth camp, and then people are like, hey, how much for this player? How much for this? And then you create auctions, and then people go crazy. I remember bidding like 70 billion for players in US2, and then in Euro 2 server, I went beyond. It was a record there. I paid like 150 million for one player because yeah, I mean that was, I don't know if I would have done this again, but the thing is I knew for sure he would like my team, so that was one of the reasons why I invested that
Was it
much.
a was that an auction that had you bid this much, or was it just a deal that you struck with someone?
No, yeah, interesting enough, it was not an auction, but I was dealing with Rob. Like, by the Rob is an old time manager as well from Euro 2, and he had this player, but this player was not developing there, and we knew for sure that Avalanches and another team were really interested in that player because they knew they would like our teams. So I proposed like a deal to Rob. Hey, how much do you want to not post an auction for this player? Like, I pay you this much, and you are
Look
not
at
going
you
to.
preempting the auction, trying to kill it before the deal was public. It's awesome. Does it get boring to win all the time? You know, you've won everything everywhere. I believe you've also won, and just for everyone's context, there is some community organized, you know, tournaments going on across servers, within servers, and I believe you've won everything, including the cross-server tournament. Right?
No, not yet. This one I'm missing. Yeah, so I went to the final with OLP. It was against Hovey, by the way, and his team was very good as well. So that's the one trophy I don't have. But all the rest and the things server cross leagues, I do have those. But yeah, I gotta check that one.
So maybe now is a good time to announce this. But what we'll do this summer alongside the FIFA Club World Cup Championship is we'll run another cross server tournament in TOL, and we'll align. As everyone knows, the prize money for the FIFA tournament is just ridiculous, and so we'll do something similar for TOL, where people are going to be able to win cash and or players. And so
Oh wow.
yeah, we'd love to see you compete. And I think if there's no, I don't want to put pressure on you, you know. And so if there's one tournament that you know you'll want to win, that's probably this one.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately, if I would have to join this one, I probably will join with Doha Falcons from Euro 2 because here's the thing: OLP in US2, we are past peak nowadays. So I'm trying to find new players. So while I don't get there, I'm dedicating more efforts to Doha Falcons. We are in a good place. We won L1 last season in Euro 2, which is a very competitive server, by the way. So yeah, it's gonna
Oh
be
my
from
god!
my
So
my second
are you
season.
telling me? I'm actually super curious to ask you this, but is it deliberate that you have? I mean, obviously you're managing several teams. Is it deliberate that your teams are not peaking at the same time, so that you always have at least a team that is good at what you're rebuilding the other one?
I'm not that crazy. I don't know.
So says a guy who has a spreadsheet. Says a guy who has a spreadsheet with like, oh, let me tell you about season 22, match day 5. This is what happened.
No, I wish I could keep both teams at the peak at the same time. I would be bragging for everyone because people who play with me, they know I like to joke, I like to trash talk. I think it's also part of the
Yeah.
game. So if I was with OLP and Falcons winning everything at the same time, I would be disgusting. No, nobody would bear me.
It's like the multi-club ownership structure that some of you, and I don't know, some of you, I barely have time to manage one club. I don't know how you guys do. I know some of you have two and even more than two for some.
But yeah, the secret is procrastination. Just kidding.
Sounds story of my life. Let's do this for someone who's just starting, right? And I know, you know, as much as we've tried to make the open league easy and accessible to everyone, I know some people picking up the game for the first time feel a little bit overwhelmed. There's the social aspect, right? You're in a new server, you don't know people. There's game mechanics that you know are not very obvious. There's the frequency of the games every day. But what would be the top 3 pieces of advice you would give someone who just started to play?
Top three. First one probably you gotta be active because when you're active there, everything happens naturally because you're getting to talk to more experienced managers. And what you gotta do is, and that's probably my second advice. You gotta learn from the other managers, all those
Yeah.
nuances that only the geeks of TOL know. Getting to understand the game, like not only reading the the guidelines that we have in the app or in the website, but asking for our experience. Now, third device, maybe we avoid playing defend, like because it's really hard to be successful with defend. If I'm being honest, like you gotta really, there are just some specific combos that work really well, and you gotta double down on finding those players that will fit your mindset and formation. No, I mean, of
This
course,
is
I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say this is great because I think what I'm going to do now, as soon as people see this, a lot of clubs are going to be selling their players with a defensive mindset, and I'm just going to change my team and just pick all of those players on the on the cheap.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's an opportunity as well. I mean, I know many managers that they use the same reasoning. Like people don't want to play defense, so I'm going to take the really good players for basically for free because they'll be dropped in the free market. But jokes aside, like it's of course it's possible to win with defense, but it's just harder. So you'll have like you have to be patient to get there.
Yeah. So recap. Advice number one: be active. It's going to be hard to be successful just not being super active. Two is get advice and get help from the managers that have been around for a while and really understand the dynamics. And number three is do not play defense as your mindset.
Yeah. At least at first, when you feel like more comfortable and you say, okay, I got this game, I'll give a chance to defend because there's an opportunity in the market, so go for it. But to get started, I would go for with neutral or attack.
Awesome. A little bit of a different question, but what are your plans for the future of OLP? Anything big brewing up? You've mentioned their past their peak, so are you about to get into a big rebuild?
I don't know. I don't think I'm rebuilding. I'm just like low key rebuilding. If you say, trying to find just to fill the gaps that I have in my team. But what I got right now will be is not the current champion, right? The current champion is Alberta. So my objective right now is to get back at the top, right? You asked me before, it's if it gets boring, like winning. No, it doesn't get boring. Like I wanna be back into winning. So yeah, that's the plan for Carioca's.
We'll throw you a big party when you hit the 30 League One titles. I think we owe you that. So we'll see, and we could just be a few seasons away from that. So let's keep track on this.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll be waiting for this gift.
If you had, and maybe I should have sent you this question before because it might be hard for you to answer off the cuff, but if you were given a magic wand and had the opportunity to bring back one of your retired players, who would that be and why?
Wow, my memory is terrible, unfortunately, but there is one striker that I miss so much. It's Adeline Han. Actually, I bought Adeline from you. You gave him the nickname Adderall. I remember when I bought him from you, like he solved my problems in my attack. I was playing defend only by that time, and he liked my club, and he was in sync with formation and mindset. He destroyed it, and I was playing defend. So yeah, I miss having a good striker that plays defense. I'm till nowadays I still play a hybrid, but my defense team is having a hard time in the front, and Adeline would save my life.
I don't remember giving that player that nickname, but I do remember selling that player to you.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about your last season. I mean, you've mentioned that OLP wasn't at the top, and I think you've hinted to why. Let's talk about what happened in the Euro 2 server. How did you do there?
Euro 2 server. So in Euro 2, I won it last season, and it was my second time only winning at one there. So you can imagine how hard it is.
Yeah.
So it was a long time working. Like I tried so many things in Euro 2. I began with attack and defend, and then at some point I became only attack, and then I switched just to defend only. So like 3 or 4 seasons ago, I said, I'm going to give it a try to neutral. It was a success. I had success with neutral in Euro 4. I also played Euro 4, by the way. And so I said, well, I didn't try this here yet. And there was an opportunity in the market because many teams were dropping neutral minded players and like really good players. So I said, well, I would take that chance. And I took it as a sign of times because one of the first neutral strikers I bought ended up as being a green circle for me. So he liked my club. So I said, well, that's it. I'm going to build my team around this guy. So it was a process, right? I think 5 seasons until I had a solid neutral team to alternate with that attack team. And then last season, I was finally able to win that one again. It was very rewarding, if you ask me, because the competition there was always super hard. There are very competent managers, but people there are really fun too. So it was a nice title for sure to be remembered.
So are you? This is going to spur, I think, a lot of debate and disagreement. But I think you're saying that Euro 2 is a more competitive server than USC 2.
Yeah, absolutely. because what happened, like US2 for a very long time was the top server, but at some point, and I don't know what happened exactly. People started to leave. Maybe it was just a coincidence. And so, and by the way, I also I moved the countries. I went to live in Germany at that time. So I said I need to join a server that has a more comfortable time zone for me. So that's when
Yeah.
I joined Euro 2. And since I'm very active, I guess like people people started talking to me really fast, and I saw that it was a really good community there. People were different at that time Euro 2. They were trying to really break the game in the good sense. So of course I identified myself with that people, like some really cool guys from the UK, so Patty, but they push it the game to the limits. Like we learned a lot from them, and I think you also learned some of the mechanisms that of your own game with these
Uh-huh.
people. Yeah, I mean, I think the people in Euro 2 were really dedicated to break the games. They are, as some
I
people
can't.
say, they. Oh, sorry.
No, no, go ahead.
I was about to say they are, as some people like to call me. They were tryhards.
I can't tell you how often we get, we get DMs from people saying, "Oh, by the way, if you do X, Y, this, and this, you can get this, or you can see something you're not supposed to see, or you can get something you're not supposed to get." And so I
Yeah.
can't stress enough how the community has been helpful getting to where we are. And I know, I mean, I know you know this, but we tend to build new feature and we release them when they're half ready, and then we get all the feedback, and then we fine tune them over time. But to your point, like Euro 2 and other servers have been just incredible, pointing out to like tweaks and changes that we should make.
No, no, a product is never done. So that's the motto. When you check all those things, more things will come up. So it's endless.
I couldn't agree more. So you've touched a little bit on some of the other managers in other servers, but would you care to share who impresses you? If you had to choose one manager, who would that be in terms of who impresses you the most, both from a manager perspective, from a personal perspective?
Wow, I think there are two. One is Diego, who already left the game. He won so many titles in Euro 2. And as I say, like in my opinion, Euro 2 is the most competitive server. And he was playing with one mindset only, attack. But it always looked like he knew how to score last minute goals and how to make like the right subs at the right time. So Diego definitely was impressive. And
And
after
I swear,
him,
Diego was not paying us to make it happen for him. Just to be clear.
no, I know. Diego was he was just playing the simple thing, and it was he was the example that just do the basics the right way, and you can be successful. So that would be Diego. And Hovey is the guy that never gives up. Like he's also I think he won, I don't know, 5 or 6 L1 titles in a row, and that never happened in Euro 2 L1. And he was like always rotating players. He was like, okay, this player is indifferent to me. I'm gonna sell. I'm gonna find someone else. He was very very active in the market. So he never gives up, and it's also impressive how fast he can spot like new free agents during the off season, and then he would scout those players really fast. So yeah, he definitely has an eye for free agents and for finding good opportunities in the market.
Yeah, the free agent thing is interesting, and you know this, but we've had to change the mechanic a little bit because we used
Oh
to
yeah,
release all free agent or to release all new free agents at the same time, and it
yeah, I
was this
remember that.
mad dash to like find them and scout them and pick them up, and so we've had to trickle them now to make it a little bit because we were getting a lot of complaints for people who were sleeping at that time or not
Yeah.
not available in front of the computer to scout everyone.
You know what? I'm guilty of that one because once in Euro 2, I did that. Like, I signed it and dumped it every free agent I saw because they were, as you said, they were released all at the same time. The old people will remember this. And that was like a mess. They said, what this guy is doing? Like, I didn't know you could do that. And then people became mad at me. But I said, it is what it is. So over time, and I also agreed with that. No, let's make this more fair to everyone. I can only blame the willingness to win. Sorry.
Hey, you don't need to apologize for being competitive. It clearly works in your case.
Exactly.
what is the one feature you'd like us to implement in the Open League?
One feature. Well, that's a very specific use case for me because I have a hybrid team. Uh, but you know that when we can manage presets in the squad page. If the presets came with the players, already there, that would save me a lot of time because with one, what I got to do is like I got to switch every player manually because that's how I play. I switch the 11 players in the field. So if I had this feature where you save the presets with the players, that would be awesome.
Very doable. We'll work on it, but it's also blows my mind how specific the feature is. It's not, like we've heard about. It's just like no. So in that one page or that one thing, and it's probably because you play so much that I could see the benefit of saving you that couple minutes every time you need to make a change.
Yeah, I'm gonna try hard.
Well, very cool. It's kind of the all the questions that I had. To be honest, I'm also very very appreciative of you taking the time to talk to us. And yeah, I think as a community, we really appreciate your dedication. The help you've provided to a lot of the new players. And as a development team, also want to really thank you for the help. Like I've mentioned, you've helped with a lot of the design work. You've suggested a lot of gameplay improvement. So thank you for that. So before we wrap up, I want to a little bit finish where we started. As you know, Botafogo is coming to Los Angeles in June to play, amongst other, the best club in the world right now, PSG. So
We're
what's
we're
the
so
status
unlucky.
on this? Are you coming out here to come and watch this?
Unfortunately, not. Like, I strongly considered going to the US to watch this just for the fun because there's no way we can compete against the current PSG. But the thing is that Botafogo declined it a lot from last year to this one. So I said no. It's going. If I go, I'm gonna take the risk to see an embarrassment. So I'm not going to do this myself, even though it would be really nice to get to know the US. I never went to the US, but in another opportunity, maybe I'll be supporting PSG.
All right. Well, I'll be there. I'll make sure to send you a picture of that game. But all right, man. Well, thanks a lot.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure.